Hello princesses! Today I'm going to be talking about the Nature Republic Pure Shine Foundation. I picked this one up on Beauty Box Korea because it was short dated, which means that it was expiring soon, and it was really cheap. And that is literally the reason that I picked it up. I was like, that's cheap, I'll have it. I have tried a few foundations from Nature Republic before, but I can't remember if I really liked any of them, so that probably means that I didn't like them that much, which is okay. So for this review, we're going to have a product description, packaging, swatches, application, longevity, and final thoughts. So if you'd like to skip to any of those points, please do so now. So for this one, it has a super short product description which says, a lightweight foundation which adheres lightly yet perfectly to skin with soft texture. Keeps skin smooth and natural even after applied over and over again without any clumping. The packaging of this foundation is super simple. It just comes in a really boring beige squeeze tube. Has no applicator, it's just the basic packaging. I picked mine up in the shade number 1, light beige, which is the lighter of the two colors. The second one is called number 2, natural beige. This one is not a terrible color for me. I can definitely wear it. It's fine. It's not perfect though. It's a little bit pinkish. It's a little bit lighter, but it works well enough. So I'm going to be applying this foundation using a cushion puff, which is the way that I usually do it. And if you're wondering why my voice is lower and why I look like I'm in pajamas, it's because I'm in pajamas because I've got COVID. And I'll be inside all day today, so I thought it would be a really good time to do a wear test, since I won't have to really wear a mask because I'm alone isolating in my house. But I have a really beautiful low voice. So this applies really evenly. You can build it up a little bit, but I'm just going to do a second little layer over the top of some of my scarring here. The color itself is not bad. It's slightly pinkish in comparison to my neck, which is a little bit more yellow. But I think that the color is generally very easy to get away with for me, especially because there are only 2 colors. At least this one works. In terms of the coverage, this one does say on the front of the packet that it's supposed to be full coverage, but I totally disagree with that. It's like a nice light to medium, I would say. Even when I build it up over some of that scarring on the other side there, it still looks really natural. I'm fine with that because I prefer a more natural coverage, especially at the moment with mask wearing, and I think that it looks nice. It's got a really nice amount of shine to it. It looks very healthy without looking like oily. So that's what we look like with one half done versus the other half. And I'm just going to quickly get this other half done and then I will zoom in and show you guys how it looks. Okay, so here is the full face done and I think that it looks really nice. Very nice and shiny without being too bright and oily looking. Slightly off in color, but the lighting is so poor today anyway because it is so rainy outside that I have to have the overhead lights on, so you probably can't tell anyway. And in all honesty, at the moment especially, normally I'm wearing a mask that covers this much of my face and I have a fringe, so you can't really tell anyway, it's fine. So I'll zoom you guys in. Okay, so here's the forehead and we're looking at the little baby wrinkles. They look pretty good. They're no better, they're no worse. It covers up a lot of the texture on my forehead, so it doesn't make that more obvious, which is nice. Around the nose, you can still see a lot of the freckles and the pores, and you can see that scarring there, so definitely not full coverage. And when I smile, it doesn't make the smile lines worse. And then around my mouth, we just have more scarring basically, and that is a birthmark, and it's a little bit poorly blended, so don't mind that. But this is not going to be covered up with any foundation anyway, so that's fine. So I'm going to powder my skin because I normally would, and I think with this foundation it doesn't really set down, it's a little bit sticky, so that's my personal preference. And then I'm going to go about my day and I will check in with you guys throughout the day. So here's how my skin is looking after about 6 hours. It's still looking pretty good. It's a little bit shiny but nothing terrible. It's definitely not melting away over the nose, even though it is a little bit oily looking, and the coverage is still really good. After 12 hours, this is a really long day and I look absolutely exhausted. Even though the foundation looks a little bit shiny, especially on my nose tip, it's not really melting away, which is really good. However, on the cheeks especially and around the chin, you can see that there has been a lot of coverage that has disappeared and you can see a lot more of the flaws.
but from a distance, it still looks pretty good.
So for this foundation, considering how cheap it is, I'm actually not that mad at it. However, I don't really know if it kind of lives up to its expectation of being full coverage, because it definitely does say full coverage on it. Pure Shine Foundation in light beige, but it does, yeah, it says full coverage on the front, so I kind of expected full coverage. I personally found that it was kind of like a medium coverage. It was fair that it kept my skin pretty smooth, and it was very natural. And I could kind of work with the product without it clumping up, which is really good, because a lot of other products you cannot do that with. But like there wasn't really much to go on for its product description. So like it's lightweight. Yep. It adheres lightly. What does that even mean? And it has a soft texture. Yep. Like it wasn't really promising anything, and it kind of just delivered that. Like it wasn't amazing and it wasn't terrible. It's not the worst foundation for longevity, but it's also not amazing. Like it's not going to be staying on all day, but it's also not melting and dissolving off my face like some of the other foundations I've tried recently have. So I'm taking what I can get. Overall, I really enjoyed trying this out, but mostly enjoyed it because it was so cheap. Like I think if I had paid more money for this, I'd be more like, not ruthless, but I'd be like, oh, it's not worth the money. But like I think I paid like $2 or $3 for the whole foundation because it expires in June. Generally, I don't pay much attention to the actual expiry date of the product. If I have them open for a really long amount of time, then I will obviously eventually throw them out. And if they look or smell or feel off, then I will also throw them out. But since I only just opened it, I'm kind of like, not that bothered. So it's fine. It was a bargain and it's okay. I think that all of the other websites that I saw this on, it was also really, really cheap as well. So if you are interested in a super cheap foundation that is not terrible, give it a go. So thank you guys so much for watching this review, and I will see you in the next one.